Hello, welcome to this video. This is my first time doing a YouTube video where I'm actually talking to a camera, so it might be a little bit weird. I feel like I'm talking to myself, but let's get started. So, I'm going to be talking about my bee dress. I made my bee dress. It's very shiny. It's covered in little bees, and it was inspired by the strawberry dress. So, if you don't know the strawberry dress, last summer, 2020, it sort of took the internet by storm, and everyone loved the strawberry dress. It was so flowy, it was perfect for summer, it was just sort of an escape for people. So, as a fan of bees, I was looking at the strawberry dress. I was like, it's really pretty, maybe I'd make myself a strawberry dress. I don't have the money to spend on a strawberry dress. And then I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna make a bee dress. So the idea was so fun. I just immediately had to start working on it. So my bee dress is not a dress. It's a skirt and a top, and I'll tell you why it ended up being like that later. But to make the dress, I used the McCall's M7974 pattern just as a sort of base because it had a similar bodice to the strawberry dress, and the skirt was, skirts are really easy to change up and alter. I made the dress with a couple of different fabrics. So one of them I bought online from Fabricville. It's a Canadian site, so I don't know if you're able to find this anywhere else. But it's a tulle, and it has all these little dots on it, and after I ordered it, I found out that it was covered in glitter. You should have seen the floors. The floors everywhere in my house are just absolutely covered in glitter. So I used that. I used, for the underskirt, just a simple, it's supposed to be yellow, although you can't really see the color unless you have a lot of it bundled together, but it's a yellow tulle. And then for the edges, my boss gave me a whole bunch of glitter fabric she wasn't going to use, so this is just tulle with gold glitter on it to break it up a little bit. And the bees are made out of Cricut material. So there's a gold glitter and a matte black, and then really shiny iridescent for the wings. And so each of these bees I put on individually. Of course the gold, when it cuts, it comes together. But every bee on this dress was put on by hand. So when I cut it with the Cricut, I had like my sheets of wings and my sheets of bodies and my sheets of bees. This is not realistic. This was a learning thing for me, where I figured out that you have to make sure your computer's not going to go to sleep when you're doing a long Cricut cut. Otherwise, it's going to mess up the whole cut, and then you're going to have a whole bunch of half bee bodies. So that was not a great moment, but I learned. Because this whole dress is made with tulle, when I was cutting it for the bodice, I did double layers of the outside, the thicker one. I think I might have done that for the inside too. So I did double layers for all of that except the sleeves, which, it's the whole thing see-through anyways. I don't know why I bothered, but it just gives it a little bit more. And when I cut the dress, I used the basic shape of the skirt from the pattern that I bought, but I added either 2 or 4 more panels, I can't quite remember, just to give it maximum amount of volume and puff, because I was really going for puff with this dress. And of course, to get the maximum amount of puff underneath the skirt, I know this is really hard to see, I don't really have a better setup. You make a crinoline or a tulle, something to go under it that's made of a lot of gathered fabric. So this one doesn't give it a lot, but it gives it something. I made it, I think this is about 2 feet, and then the next section is 2 feet, and the next section is 1 foot. And I just used feet because the tiles in my house are 1 foot by 2 feet, so I could just lay it all out on the floor. I would normally use a better measurement, like meters, but whatever. And then I think this was probably 6 feet for the first layer. That was so 6 by 2, and then it would have been 12 by 2, and then it would have been 1 by 24. So a lot of tulle in that, and I really learned how to gather properly because that was new too. In putting the skirt together, you can see that I've done an elasticized waist. And that's because the skirt, I mean, it was a lot bigger than the bodice, and the bodice doesn't have any gathering at the bottom other than a small dart that I've put in at the back. So there really wasn't a way, because it's so see-through, to do like a placket opening on the skirt so that it could attach to the bodice. So I just decided to make it 2 pieces because otherwise it was going to be a lot of work and there was no guarantee that it was going to look any better. A really big concern upon making this dress was itchy, because this tulle, while beautiful, the edges can become pretty scratchy. So when I made the bodice, I did all the seams. I just sort of followed the instructions as they were from the pattern, because the bodice is basically just the same as the pattern, except I added some little bits. But what I did to combat the itchiness was I lined it with the softer tulle, which also gave it some more poof. And then when I had to do the sleeves, I just used gold binding tape, which you can hardly even see from the outside. And on the bodice, to make it more like the strawberry dress, which has this really nice frilly, fluffy bit that comes all the way down and lines the sleeves and the bottom of the skirt, I used the yellow tulle with the gold glitter, and I just edged it so the sleeves are done in elastic, so they're just stretchy. And if you look really closely, you can see just one layer of the softer tulle so that this edge doesn't rub up against my skin as much. I'm not going to say it doesn't, it's still a little bit itchy, but it's far less itchy than it would have been if I hadn't just added that little layer of protection. You might have noticed, I kind of hope you didn't, but there's no proper closure on the bodice. And so when I put it on, usually because I have yellow sewing pins, I'll just pin the front part together for the sole reason that I haven't found a button that I want to use yet. I want like a flower or a bee or something really cute, and it just hasn't turned up. So that part's not totally done, but the rest is. So I also edged the bottom of the skirt, like the strawberry dress, in this glitter, so it really just gives it, because it's a pretty solid tulle, it doesn't have much give, it doesn't fold in on itself easily, so that also adds to the puffiness of the skirt. Okay, so I think I've gone over the whole of the outfit in very non-logical order. Oh, My seams for the neck and the bottom of the bodice are just folded down and sandwiched together. And the sleeves, I added extra tulle in here just because I wanted maximum sleeve puffiness. So yeah, so as for the rest of the outfit, it's very important to stick with the theme. So I'll go floral headdress, I'll go bee socks, I'll go bee earrings, and of course, yellow glitter makeup. Alright, well, thank you for watching my video. I hope you learned something, or it was at the very least entertaining. That's what I go for, right? And, I mean, if you can't find your perfect fabric, make it yourself with hours and hours of painstaking bee addition. Bye!